The stars were burning. Princess pressed her small hands against the window of the royal starship. She was only 12 years old, but she understood what was happening. The pirates had found them. Her mother, Queen, had warned her about this day. The galaxy was not safe for their kind. The people were peaceful. They had no weapons. They had no army. They only had their wisdom and their kindness. But kindness did not stop laser fire. The ship shook hard, fell to the floor. Red lights flashed everywhere. Alarms screamed through the halls. She could hear the guards running and shouting. She could hear the sound of metal breaking. Princess, a guard named, ran into her room. His blue skin was covered in burns. His 4 eyes were wide with fear. "You must go now." "Where is my mother?" asked. Her voice was shaking. "The Queen is on the command deck. She is fighting to save us all, but you must escape." Grabbed her arm and pulled her through the smoking hallway. "There is an escape pod. It will take you somewhere safe." "I cannot leave my mother." "Your mother ordered this. She said your life is more important than anything." Pushed her into a small room. In the center was a tiny pod just big enough for one person. "This pod will fly far away. The pirates will not find you." His eyes filled with tears. She was the princess of the empire. She was supposed to be brave, but right now she was just a scared child who wanted her mother. "Will I see her again?" she asked. Looked at her with sad eyes. "I hope so, little one. I truly hope so." He lifted her into the pod and strapped her in. The pod was cold and dark. There was only a small window and a few buttons that glowed soft green. "The pod will find a safe planet," said. "Wait there. Someone will come for you." Before could say anything more, pressed a button. The pod door closed. She heard a loud boom, and then she was flying through space. Through the tiny window, she watched her ship get smaller and smaller. She saw the pirate ships surrounding it like hungry animals. She saw fire and smoke. And then there was a flash of white light. The royal starship exploded. She screamed until her throat hurt. She screamed until she had no more voice. Her mother was on that ship. Her friends were on that ship. Everything she knew was gone in one bright flash. The pod flew on, did not know where she was going. She did not care. She curled up in the small seat and cried. She cried until she fell asleep. When she woke up, the pod was shaking. Through the window, she could see a planet. It was mostly brown and green with patches of blue water. It did not look like her home. Her home had purple skies and silver trees. This place looked rough and wild. The pod entered the atmosphere. Fire covered the window, held on tight as the pod fell faster and faster. She closed her eyes and thought of her mother. She thought of her mother's warm smile. She thought of her mother's gentle voice. Then the pod hit the ground. Everything went black. Far away, on a small human colony called New Eden, a man named was fixing his old cargo ship. He was 35 years old, with tired eyes and rough hands. He had been a pilot for 15 years. He carried food and supplies to the small towns on this planet. It was not exciting work, but it was honest work. Wiped the sweat from his face. The sun was hot today. He looked up at the sky and saw something strange. A ball of fire was falling from the clouds. "What the hell?" he said. The fireball crashed into the hills about 2 kilometers away. The ground shook. Birds flew up from the trees, screaming in fear. Stood very still. In all his years on this planet, he had never seen anything like this. This colony was far from the main space routes. Nobody came here. Nobody cared about this little rock in the middle of nowhere. He should call the colony security. He should let them handle it, but something told him to go look for himself. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was something else. He grabbed his bag and started walking toward the crash site. It took him 30 minutes to reach the hills. The crash had left a long scar in the earth. Trees were broken and burning. Smoke filled the air. At the end of the scar, he found a small metal pod. It was dented and cracked, but it was not destroyed. Walked closer. He had seen many ships in his life, but he had never seen anything like this. The metal was too smooth. The shape was too perfect. This was not human technology. His heart beat faster. Aliens. Real aliens. Everyone knew they existed, but most humans never saw one. The galaxy was too big, and humans were still new to space travel. He touched the pod. It was warm. He heard a sound from inside, a soft sound, like crying. Found the door and pulled it open. Inside, he saw something that broke his heart. It was a child, a small girl with pale purple skin and silver hair. She had 2 eyes like a human, but they were larger and darker. She was covered in cuts and bruises, and she was crying. The girl looked up at him. Her eyes were full of fear. She said something in a language he did not understand. She tried to move away from him, but she was too weak. "Hey, hey," said softly. He held up his hands to show he meant no harm. "It is okay. I am not going to hurt you." The girl kept crying. She was shaking badly. Did not know what to do. He was just a cargo pilot. He did not know anything about aliens. He did not know how to help her. But he knew one thing. This child was hurt and scared, and he was not going to leave her here alone. He took off his jacket and wrapped it around her small body. She flinched at first, but then she stopped fighting. She was too tired to fight. "I got you," said. "I got you." He picked her up carefully. She was very light, like she was made of feathers. Her head fell against his chest. She was still crying, but softer now. Carried her back toward his ship. He did not know what he was getting into. He did not know that this small act of kindness would change his life forever. He did not know that he had just rescued the princess of a great empire. All he knew was that this child needed help, and he was going to help her. The sun was setting when he reached his ship. The sky turned orange and red. Looked down at the sleeping girl in his arms. Her breathing was slow and steady. "Do not worry, little one," he whispered. "You are safe now." He had no idea how wrong he was. The pirates were still out there, and they were looking for her. 3 days passed. Had not slept much. The alien girl was very sick. Her body was hot with fever. She kept talking in her sleep, saying words he could not understand. Sometimes she cried. Sometimes she screamed. He stayed by her side the whole time. He did not know anything about alien medicine. He did not know what she needed. So he did what any human would do. He gave her water. He kept her warm. He talked to her even though she could not understand. "You are going to be okay," he said again and again. "Just hold on." On the 3rd night, her fever broke. Was sitting in a chair beside her bed when she opened her eyes. She looked around the small room inside his ship. Then she looked at him. "Where am I?" she asked. Almost fell out of his chair. "You speak my language." The girl touched a small device behind her ear. "Translator," she said. "It took time to learn your words." Moved closer to her. "How are you feeling?" "Everything hurts." She tried to sit up but fell back down. "My ship, the pirates, my mother." Her eyes filled with tears. "Is my mother dead?" Did not know what to say. He had seen the explosion in the sky. He had heard about the attack on the news channels. A royal ship from the Empire had been destroyed. There were no survivors. But he could not say that to this child. "I do not know," he said honestly. "But you are alive. That is what matters right now." The girl started crying again, felt helpless. He was not good with children. He had no family. He had spent his whole life alone, but seeing this child cry made his heart hurt. He sat on the edge of the bed. "What is your name?" She said between sobs, "Princess of the Empire." A princess let out a long breath. He had rescued a princess. This was not good. If the pirates found out she was alive, they would come for her, and they would kill anyone who got in their way. "I am," he said. "I am just a cargo pilot, nobody important." Looked at him with her big dark eyes. "You saved me. I found you, that is all. You could have left me, you could have called the authorities, but you did not, you helped me." She reached out and touched his hand. Her fingers were cold and thin. "Thank you." Did not know what to say. No one had thanked him for anything in a very long time. Over the next few days, grew stronger, fed her soup and bread. He did not know if aliens could eat human food, but she seemed to like it. She especially liked the sweet rice cakes he kept in his kitchen. "These are wonderful," she said, eating her fifth one. "We do not have anything like this on my world." Smiled. "My grandmother used to make them. She taught me before she died." Looked at him with curiosity. "You have no family?" "No, it is just me." "That sounds lonely." Shrugged. "I got used to it." Was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I do not want to be alone, not ever." Understood. She had lost everything. Her mother, her home, her entire world. And now she was stuck on a strange planet with a strange man she did not know. "You are not alone," he said. "I am here." She smiled for the first time since he found her. It was a small smile, but it was real. 1 week after the crash, trouble came. Was in town buying supplies when he saw them. 3 aliens walking through the market. They were tall and covered in dark scales. Their eyes were red like blood. They wore black armor and carried weapons on their belts. Bounty hunters. His blood went cold. He had seen their kind before. They worked for pirates and criminals. They hunted people for money, and they never stopped until they found what they were looking for. He watched them carefully. One of them was showing a picture to a shopkeeper. The shopkeeper shook his head. The bounty hunter grabbed him by the collar and said something angry. The shopkeeper pointed toward the hills. Towards ship. Dropped his bags and ran. He had never run so fast in his life. His lungs burned. His legs screamed, but he kept running. He reached his ship in 20 minutes, was inside, reading a book he had given her. She looked up when he burst through the door. "What is wrong?" "They found you," he said, gasping for air. "Bounty hunters, they are coming." His face went pale. "No, no, no, no. We need to leave right now." But it was too late. Through the window they could see a ship landing nearby. It was dark and ugly, covered in weapons. The bounty hunters had arrived. Grab's hand. "Stay behind me. You cannot fight them. They will kill you." "I know." He looked at her with serious eyes. "But I am not going to let them take you." The door of the enemy ship opened. The 3 bounty hunters walked out. They moved slowly, like they had all the time in the world. The leader was the biggest one. He had scars all over his face and a smile that made feel sick. "Human," the leader said, "give us the girl and you might live." Stood in front of, his hands were shaking but he did not move. "She is not going anywhere." The leader laughed. "You think you can stop us? You are just one weak human. We have killed hundreds of your kind." "Maybe, but you have not killed me yet." The leader's smile disappeared. "Stupid human. Humans think they are so brave, but bravery is nothing without power." He pulled out his weapon and pointed it at. It was a plasma gun strong enough to burn a hole through metal. Had no armor. He had no weapon. He had nothing. But he did not move. "Last chance," the leader said. "Give us the girl." Thought about his life. He thought about all the years he had spent alone. He thought about how empty everything had been. And then he thought about her smile, her laugh, the way she called him by his name like he was someone important. He was not going to let them take her, even if it meant dying. "No," he said. The leader growled with anger. He squeezed the trigger. But was ready. He grabbed a metal pan from the table beside him and threw it at the leader's face. It hit him hard in the eye. The leader screamed and fired, but the shot went wide. Ran at him. He was not a fighter. He had never been in a real fight in his life. But humans had one thing that most aliens did not understand. They never gave up. Crashed into the leader and knocked him down. They rolled on the ground, fighting for the weapon. The other 2 hunters tried to help, but threw things at them to keep them back. She threw books, tools, anything she could find. "Leave him alone," she screamed. Got his hand on the plasma gun. He did not know how to use it, but he pointed it at the sky and fired. The shot hit the bounty hunter's ship. Something exploded inside. Fire and smoke poured out. The two other hunters ran back to their ship. "The fuel, it is going to blow." The leader pushed away and stumbled toward the ship. "This is not over, human. We will find her. We will find you." They got into their ship and took off just before it exploded completely. The blast knocked to the ground. His ears were ringing. His whole body hurt. But he was alive and was safe. Ran to him and helped him sit up. "Are you okay?" He looked at her and smiled. "I told you, I am not going to let them take you." Threw her arms around him and hugged him tight. She was crying again, but this time they were happy tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Hugged her back. In that moment something changed inside him. He was no longer just a lonely cargo pilot. He was something more. He was her guardian. And he would protect her no matter what. The bounty hunters would return. Knew this. They had failed once, but they would not fail again. Next time they would bring more people, more weapons, more ships. He could not stay on New Eden. He had to run. But where could he go? The galaxy was big and dangerous. He was just one man with an old cargo ship. He had no money. He had no friends. He had nothing except a broken ship and a princess who needed to go home. "I have to take you back," he said to that night. They were sitting in the cockpit looking at the stars. "Your mother might still be alive. Your people will be looking for you." His eyes grew wide. "You would do that? The journey is very long, very dangerous." "I know. The pirates control many of the space routes. They will try to stop us." "I know. You could die." Looked at her. "I could die here too. At least this way there is a chance to get you home." Was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Why are you doing this? You do not know me. You do not owe me anything." Thought about the question. Why was he doing this? He had asked himself the same thing many times over the past few days. The answer was simple. "Because it is the right thing to do," he said. "Because you are a child who lost everything. Because nobody else is going to help you. And because," he paused, "because I do not want to be alone anymore either." Smiled. It was a real smile, warm and bright. "Then let us go together." They left New Eden the next morning. Ship was called the Old Moon. It was not pretty. The paint was faded. The engine made strange noises. Some of the lights did not work, but it flew. And right now, that was all that mattered. Sat in the co-pilot seat. She looked out the window as the planet got smaller and smaller. "I have never been on a ship like this," she said. "It is very interesting." "You mean old and ugly?" She laughed. "I did not say that." "You were thinking it." "Maybe a little." Smiled. It felt good to hear her laugh. For the past week she had been so sad, so scared. But now there was hope in her eyes, hope that she might see her mother again. He hoped he would not let her down. The journey to space would take 3 weeks. That was if everything went well. They had to cross through several neutral zones and avoid the pirate territories. Had mapped out the safest route he could find. It was longer, but it kept them away from the most dangerous areas. For the first few days, everything was peaceful. They flew through empty space, seeing nothing but stars. Spent most of her time exploring the ship. She was curious about everything. "What is this?" she asked, holding up a small metal tool. "A wrench for fixing things." "And this?" "A flashlight." "And this?" "That is my toothbrush. Please put it down." Giggled and put it back. "Humans have so many things. On my world we do not need so many tools. We use our minds to fix things." "Must be nice. I have to use my hands like a normal person." "I think your hands are very useful," said. "They saved my life." Did not know what to say to that. He just kept flying. On the 5th day, asked him about his life. They were eating dinner in the small kitchen. The food was simple. Rice, vegetables, and some meat from a can did not seem to mind. "Tell me about yourself," she said. "Where did you grow up?" Chewed his food slowly. He did not like talking about his past, but was looking at him with those big, curious eyes, and he found himself talking anyway. "I grew up on Earth, a small town in a country called Korea. My parents died when I was young, a car accident. My grandmother raised me after that." "Your grandmother sounds like a good person." "She was the best. She taught me how to cook, how to fix things, how to take care of myself. When she died, I was 20 years old. I did not know what to do with my life, so I became a pilot. I thought maybe I would find a purpose somewhere in space." "Did you find it?" Looked at her. "I think I might be finding it now." Smiled and went back to eating. On the 8th day, something unexpected happened. They were passing through a quiet sector when suddenly jumped out of her seat. "Stop the ship," she shouted. "Hit the brakes. What is wrong?" Pointed out the window. There, floating in space, was a small ship. It was damaged and dark. There were no lights, no signs of life. "Someone is in there," said. "I can feel them." "Feel them?" "My people can sense life energy. It is a gift we have. There is someone alive in that ship." Looked at the damaged ship. It could be a trap. Pirates sometimes used fake distress signals to catch people, but it could also be someone who really needed help. He thought about what his grandmother used to say. "Help those who need help, even if it is hard, even if it is dangerous. That is what good people do." "Okay," he said, "let us check it out." They connected their ship to the damaged one and went inside. The air was cold and thin. The halls were dark. Used his flashlight to see. They found him in the cargo bay, a young alien boy, maybe 15 years old. He had green skin and 4 arms. He was curled up in a corner, shaking with cold. "Please," the boy said weakly, "please help me." Picked him up and carried him back to the old moon. They wrapped him in blankets and gave him warm food. His name was. He was a traveler who had been attacked by pirates. They took everything he had and left him to die. "Why did they leave you alive?" asked. "They thought I was already dead," said. "I played dead until they left, but my ship was too damaged. I could not fix it. I have been floating for 3 days." Sat beside him. "You are safe now. We will take care of you." Looked at them with wonder. A human and a traveling together, that is very strange. "Strange times make strange friends," said. Decided to join them. He was good with machines and helped fix some of the problems with the old moon. The engine ran smoother now. The lights worked better. Even the old coffee maker started working again. "You are very skilled," said. Smiled with all 4 arms. "My father was an engineer. He taught me everything." "Was?" The smile faded. "The pirates killed him. That is why I was traveling alone. I was trying to find a new place to live." Put a hand on his shoulder. "I am sorry." "It is okay. I have you, and now we are like a strange little family." Laughed. "That is a good way to say it." From that day on, they traveled together. The 3 of them against the galaxy. Was the pilot, was the engineer, and was the heart. On the 12th day, started calling something new. "Uncle," she said, "can you teach me how to fly the ship?" Looked at her with surprise. "Uncle. Is that not okay? In my culture, we call respected family friends that name. You have taken care of me, protected me, fed me. You are like family to me now." Felt a warmth in his chest that he had not felt in many years. "Uncle," he repeated, "I like that." Grinned. "Does that make me the cousin?" Laughed. "Yes, cousin." They all laughed together. In that moment, flying through the cold darkness of space, they did not feel alone anymore. They had each other. But the hardest part of the journey was still ahead. The pirate territories were waiting for them, and the pirates had not forgotten about Princess. War was coming, and was not sure they would survive. But he was not going to give up, not now, not ever. He looked at his strange little family. Whatever happens, he said, we face it together. They nodded. Together. The 16th day of the journey brought them to the edge of pirate territory. Stood in the cockpit and looked at the map on his screen. The red zone stretched across their path like a wall. There was no way around it. To reach space, they had to go through. How bad is it? Asked. Bad, the Black Hand controls this entire sector. They have ships everywhere, checkpoints, patrols. If they catch us, they will kill us. Came up behind them. The Black Hand, they are the ones who attacked my ship. They killed my people. Then they are definitely looking for you, said. If they find out you are alive, they will do anything to catch you. Why do they want her so much? Asked. His face was serious. Because I am the only heir to the throne. If I die, the royal bloodline ends. Our enemies want our empire to fall. Without a leader, our people will be lost. The weight of her words hung in the air. This was not just about saving one girl. This was about saving an entire civilization. Took a deep breath. Then we better not get caught. They entered the red zone at night. Well, there was no real night in space, but always called it night when the stars seemed darker and colder. The old moon flew slowly, trying not to attract attention. For the first hour, everything was quiet. They passed through empty space without seeing any other ships. Maybe they would be lucky. Maybe the pirates would not notice them. Then the radio came alive. Unknown ship, this is Black Hand Patrol 7. Stop your engines and prepare to be boarded. His heart dropped. He looked at the scanner. A pirate ship was coming up behind them. It was fast and armed with heavy weapons. There was no way the old moon could outrun it. What do we do? Whispered. Thought quickly. He could not fight, he could not run, but maybe he could lie. He picked up the radio. Black Hand Patrol, this is cargo ship Old Moon. We are just simple traders carrying food supplies. We have nothing valuable. There was silence. Then the pirate spoke again. Traders, in our territory, without permission. I do not think so. Stop your engines now or we will shoot you down. Looked at, can you make us go faster? The engine is already at maximum. If I push it more, it might explode. Might. Probably will. What about maybe? Stared at him. Are you crazy? A little bit. Can you do it? Looked at the pirate ship getting closer. Then he smiled. Let me see what I can do. He ran to the engine room, heard the sound of tools and cursing. The ship started shaking. Warning lights flashed everywhere. What are you doing? Asked, holding onto her seat. Something stupid. Hold on tight. The pirate ship fired a warning shot. It flew past them and exploded in the distance. Last warning, the pirate said. Stop now. Grip the controls. Come on, come on. Suddenly, the engine roared like a wild animal. The old moon shot forward with incredible speed. Everything blurred outside the windows. Felt like his body was being pushed into his seat. It is working, shouted from the engine room. I cannot believe it is working. The pirate ship tried to follow, but it was too slow. They had surprised it. Within minutes, they were far ahead. But their problems were not over. The pirate had called for backup. On the scanner could see more ships coming. 5, 10, 20. They were surrounding them from all sides. There are too many, said, her voice shaking. Looked at the situation. She was right. There were too many to fight, too many to run from. They were trapped. But then he saw something on the map. An asteroid field. It was dangerous and unstable, full of giant rocks that could crush a ship in seconds. No sane pilot would fly through it. Good thing was not completely sane. How long can the engine hold? Maybe 10 more minutes before it dies completely. That is enough. Turn the ship toward the asteroid field. Saw what he was planning. You cannot be serious. I am very serious. We will die. We will definitely die if we stay here. At least in there we have a chance. The pirate ships were getting closer. Could hear them on the radio, laughing and taunting. They thought this was going to be easy. They thought this stupid human was going to give up. They were wrong. Flew into the asteroid field. Everything became chaos. Giant rocks flew past them. Some were bigger than buildings. Some were on fire. The ship twisted and turned as dodged one after another. Left, go left, screamed. Went left. A huge asteroid missed them by inches. Now right. He went right, another close call. Up, up. They flew up and barely avoided crashing into a mountain of ice. The pirate ships followed them into the field, but they were not as lucky. One crashed into a rock and exploded, then another, and another. The pirates were not used to flying in such dangerous conditions. They had relied on their weapons and numbers, but in here, weapons did not matter. Only skill mattered. And had been flying for 15 years. He moved the old moon like it was part of his body. Every turn was perfect. Every dodge was exactly right. He was not thinking anymore. He was just feeling. "This is impossible," one of the pirates said on the radio. "How is he doing this?" "He is human," another one answered. "Humans are crazy." More pirate ships crashed. The survivors decided to give up. They turned around and flew out of the asteroid field. They were not willing to die for one little girl. Flew for another 20 minutes before he found a safe spot to stop. There was a small cave inside one of the larger asteroids. He parked the old moon inside and finally let himself breathe. His hands were shaking. His whole body was covered in sweat. He could not believe they had survived. Uncle threw herself at him and hugged him tight. "You did it. You actually did it." Stumbled out of the engine room looking like he had been through a war. "I never want to do that again. Ever." They all laughed. It was the kind of laughter that comes after great fear, the kind that says we are alive. Outside the asteroid field, the surviving pirates reported back to their leader. His name was, and he was the most feared pirate in the sector. When he heard what happened, he was not angry. He was impressed. "A human cargo pilot escaped 20 of my ships," he said slowly, "by flying through the death field, alone." "Yes, Commander, it was unexpected." Smiled. It was a cold, dangerous smile. "I want to meet this human. Send word to all our ships. Do not kill him. Bring him to me alive." His officers looked confused. "Why, Commander?" "Because anyone who can fly like that deserves my respect, and because I want to look into his eyes before I kill him myself." The hunt was not over, was coming for them personally. But for now, inside the quiet cave, and his little family rested. They had survived the impossible. They had proven that one human, one princess, and one boy could stand against an army. The galaxy was watching, and the galaxy was amazed. Human, the aliens whispered the word like it was something magical, something dangerous. And maybe it was. Looked out the window at the stars. Space was close now. Just a few more days, just a few more obstacles. "We are almost there," he said. "We can do this." Nodded. Together they had come so far. Together they would finish this journey. No matter what. That was the most beautiful thing had ever seen. It floated in space like a purple jewel. The clouds were soft pink. The ocean sparkled with silver light. Mountains of crystal rose from the surface, catching the light of 3 suns. It looked like a dream. "We made it," whispered. "We actually made it." Stood at the window, tears rolling down her cheeks. She had not seen her home in so long. She had thought she would never see it again. But here it was, right in front of her. "Home," she said softly. "I am home." Smiled. After 21 days of running, fighting, and barely surviving, they had done it. They had crossed the galaxy. They had escaped pirates, bounty hunters, and death itself. And now they were here. But the journey was not over yet. As they approached the planet, dozens of warships appeared around them. They were huge and elegant, covered in smooth silver metal. Weapons pointed at the old moon from every direction. "Unknown ship," a voice said over the radio. "You have entered royal space. Identify yourself immediately or be destroyed." Grab the radio. "This is Princess of House. I am the daughter of Queen. I am alive and I am coming home." There was a long silence. Then the voice spoke again, filled with shock. "Princess, is that really you? We thought you were dead." "I survived. A human saved me. His name is, he has protected me across the entire galaxy." Another silence. Then the voice became excited. "All ships stand down. The princess has returned. Send word to the Queen immediately." The warships moved aside and formed an honor guard around the old moon. They escorted the little cargo ship toward the planet like it was carrying the most precious cargo in the universe. And in a way it was. They landed in the royal city, had never seen anything like it. The buildings were tall and graceful, made of white stone and glass. Gardens filled with strange flowers covered every surface. Flying vehicles moved through the air like colorful birds, and everywhere people were gathering to see the princess return. Thousands of lined the streets. They had purple skin and their large dark eyes were filled with tears of joy. They cheered and waved. Some threw flowers at the ship. Some fell to their knees and prayed. "They really love you," said two. "They love hope," she replied, "and for the first time in a long time they have it again." The ship landed in front of the royal palace. It was a massive building, bigger than anything had ever seen. Towers reached toward the sky. Windows glowed with warm golden light. Guards in shining armor stood at every door. And walked down the ramp of the ship. The crowd went silent. Everyone wanted to see the human who had saved their princess. Felt uncomfortable. He was just a cargo pilot in dirty clothes. He did not belong in a place like this, but took his hand and held it tight. "Stay with me," she said, "please." He nodded. They walked toward the palace. The doors opened and they entered a great hall. The ceiling was so high that could barely see the top. Paintings covered the walls. Lights floated in the air like little stars. And at the end of the hall, sitting on a throne of white crystal, was Queen. She was tall and beautiful, with purple skin but darker, almost blue. Her eyes were the same large dark eyes, but they held the weight of many years and many sorrows. Silver hair fell around her shoulders like water. She wore a long white dress that seemed to glow with its own light. When she saw, her face changed. The mask of the queen fell away and there was only a mother. Her eyes filled with tears. Her hands started shaking. As she whispered, let go of his hand, and ran. She ran across the great hall, past the guards, past the advisors, past everyone who tried to stop her. She ran straight to her mother. "Mom," she cried out, "Mom, I am back." Queen stood from her throne and caught her daughter in her arms. They held each other tight, crying and laughing at the same time. The queen kept touching his face like she could not believe she was real. "My child, my precious child, I thought I lost you forever." "I am here, Mom. I am okay. I am alive because of him." Pointed at, everyone in the hall turned to look at him. He stood there, feeling very small and very human. Queen walked toward him. She was even more impressive up close. Her presence filled the room like light fills darkness. Did not know what to do. Should he bow? Should he kneel? He had never met royalty before. The queen stopped in front of him. She looked into his eyes for a long moment. Then she did something that no one expected. She knelt before him. The entire hall gasped. Guards dropped their weapons in shock. Advisors fell over each other. In all the history of the empire, no royal had ever knelt before anyone. It was unthinkable, impossible. But Queen was on her knees, looking up at a simple human cargo pilot. "You saved my daughter," she said. Her voice was thick with emotion. "You protected her when no one else could. You brought her across the galaxy through danger and death, and you delivered her safely back to me." Did not know what to say. I just did what was right." "What was right?" The queen smiled through her tears. The simplest words, the hardest action. Many people know what is right, few do it. You did it, without reward, without hope, without anything except your own good heart. She reached up and took his hands. Humans are new to this galaxy. Many species look down on you, they call you weak, primitive, unimportant, but they are wrong. She stood and faced the crowd. This man has more courage, more honor, and more compassion than entire empires. From this day forward, humanity has a friend in the Empire. Any human who needs help will find it with us. This I swear as Queen. The crowd cheered, felt his face turn red. He was not used to attention. He was not used to praise. He just wanted to go back to his ship and hide. But ran up and hugged him. Thank you, uncle. Thank you for everything. Was crying too. You big idiot, you actually did it. Hugged them both. His strange little family. The princess and the boy with 4 arms. He had never expected to find anything in life. He had never expected to matter. But here, in this golden hall, surrounded by aliens who saw him as a hero, he finally understood something. It was never about being powerful or important. It was about being kind, about helping those who needed help, about standing up when everyone else sat down. That was what made someone a hero. That night there was a great celebration. Music played. Food was served. Aliens from across the empire came to see the princess and the human who saved her, ate strange purple fruits and drank drinks that tasted like honey and flowers. Sat beside her mother, finally safe and happy. She looked over at and smiled. "Will you stay?" she asked. "Will you stay with us?" Looked at the palace, at the beautiful world, at all the people celebrating. Then he looked at and, "For a little while," he said, "but someday I will need to fly again. It is in my blood." "Then we will fly with you," said. "Wherever you go, we go." "That is right," agreed. "We are family now, and family stays together." Smiled. For the first time in his life, he did not feel alone. Outside the palace, the 3 suns were setting. The sky turned shades of orange and purple and gold. Stars began to appear, millions of them, stretching across infinity. Somewhere out there, new adventures were waiting, new dangers, new friends. The galaxy was big and full of wonder. But for now, was content. He had found something more valuable than all the treasure in space. He had found a home. He had found a family. And he had found himself. The end.